The Mediterranean Sea is home to over 3,000 islands, and many of these islands are prime trading locations for merchants. Corsica is one of these islands off the west coast of Italy. The land size is around 3,368 square miles with beautiful mountains and hills. The city-state of Genoa ruled over this island for many years, while managing other Mediterranean outposts. During the 1760s, the city-state had some conflicts with France, which spiraled out of control for Genoa. On May 15, 1768, the Kingdom of France invaded the island and annexed Corsica as their own. Loyal Corsican natives that supported France benefited the most under French rule. A small Corsican family brought their fourth child into this world and named him Napoleon Bonaparte. Carlo Bonaparte and Maria Letizia Romalina were the parents of Napoleon. Carlo was born in the city of Ajaccio, Corsica. Both parents' families were from noble family backgrounds that had deep ties to the island. The family's history came with a small price, and their relationship and marriage were both arranged by their fathers. At 17 years old, Carlo wedded 13-year-old Maria Letizia. This deal was accepted by both fathers, which awarded Carlo with 31 acres of land. Just because these families had noble ties did not mean that the Bonapartes had a lot of income. Carlo Bonaparte had a career as a lawyer. While living on an island, business became slow and there was little work to be done. Once the couple began having children, their first child was born and they named him Napoleon Bonaparte. Unfortunately, the baby passed away the same day. Carlo Bonaparte's marriage to Letizia Romalino produced 13 children between 1768 and 1784. 5 of them died, 2 at birth and 3 in their infancy. 8 children survived. Carlo's first living son would grow up to be the King of Spain and mentor his second living brother, Napoleon. Napoleone Bonaparte was born on the 15th of August, 1769. His birthplace was the same as his father in Ajaccio. Later in life, Napoleone changed the spelling of his name to fit in with other French citizens, which is pronounced Napoleon Bonaparte. While living on Corsica, Napoleon and his older brother Joseph spent much time together. They learned to survey the land and watched his father's business dealings from afar. Learning from an outside point of view allowed him to see what was right and what was wrong. These trading principles would stick with the young Napoleon throughout his life. His father took some big risks, and sometimes they paid off and sometimes they did not. Napoleon was bound to make sure that he would not have the same fate. While living on Corsica, the new French government came with many benefits for the islanders. French became the main language of the island, and they had their own accent. The Corsican French accent would become troublesome for Napoleon in his education. Carlo moved young Napoleon to the mainland of France for a better education at the age of 9. While there, children and classmates would pick on him solely because of his accent, which had a mixed Spanish, French, and Italian heritage. His classmates did not know at the time, but that Corsican young boy would become one of the most powerful men in the world. As a young adult, Napoleon was on his own because his brother went to another school to become a priest while he attended military school. This military school was called Brienne-le-Château and is located in the northeast part of France and is very far away from Corsica. This made his bullying persist while studying there, because he was a true outsider. But this did not deter Napoleon. The lifestyle was Spartan, and they studied a lot. He studied 6 years at that location. These long years away from home did not stop him from becoming a leader. His father died of stomach cancer in February 1785, leaving his family in straitened circumstances. Napoleon although not the eldest son, assumed the position of the head of the family before he was 16. In September, he graduated from the military academy, ranking 42nd in the class of 58. Family came first for Napoleon, and he looked after his father's affairs while living hundreds of miles away from his home. This pressure would not ease when he returned back to the island of Corsica. Right before Napoleon left the mainland of France, he was working in the French military. This job gave him vital skills for his career. He worked in a French artillery unit and had the rank of a second lieutenant. These skills allowed him to find out where to position artillery units, how much they cost to build and maintain, and what the future of them would be on the battlefield. After a while, Napoleon built up military leave and revisited his childhood home to take care of the Young dynasty. This trip was going to be the first stepping stones of his leadership skills. Being the new leader of his family, Napoleon picked up politics to better his family's lifestyle and his workers' safety. Corsican rival Pasquale Paoli was the governor of the island. They had both different views about how the island should be ran. Paoli thought Corsica should be free and independent from France, while Napoleon wanted to work with France because it brought security and military backing. This staged the two men into fighting a mini-war. In the end, Paoli proved too strong. Napoleon's home was sacked and he was forced to flee to the mountains. The Corsican Assembly declared Bonaparte and his entire family traitors and enemies of the fatherland, condemned to perpetual execration and infamy. Bonaparte no longer had the right to live in Corsica. He had been given a death sentence by his own people. This enraged Napoleon, and on the 10th of June, 1793, the whole Bonaparte family left Corsica. While en route back to the mainland of France, Napoleon came up with a new plan to show his rivals that he was not a pushover, but a future emperor of France. Thank you for reaching the end of this lesson. Claude's history course covers famous people and events throughout world history. To stay up to date for free future uploads, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Comment down below which person or event you want to see covered next. This episode was inspired by a fan comment, and we will see you next time on Claude's history course.